and what he shared afterwards.
There was a major demonstration the day that Dr. King spoke. The congregation had such a terrible time thinking that Dr. King could come and speak there, all the fear there was, what would it mean for the future of the church and so forth. So they finally made what I thought at the time was a terrible decision. Like many terrible decisions, it turned out to have been a very smart one. It was not their intention to be smart about it. They basically said, well, no, he can't speak inside the church, but he could speak outside. What happened was over 2,000 people came. We could have never had 2,000 people inside the congregation. And in fact, it marked that church for all time as an interracial church, as a church that had really gone out on a limb and sacrificed for that issue. But there was a huge demonstration that day, people carrying swastikas, wearing swastikas, carrying the American flag upside down, all kinds of things. About maybe now 20 years later, a young man, if he wasn't so young by then, burst into our congregation, and at one point in the life of the congregation, it was just about a year ago, he stood up and said, I'd like to say something to this congregation. Well, needless to say, if you were sitting in that congregation, you'd do just what they did. They turned around to see this man behind the minister, took a gulp and said, of course, you're always welcome to speak, and looked at the rest of us like, what is this? And he began with tears in his eyes. He said, I come here to apologize, and I come here to say to this congregation what you have meant to me. He said, I was in the demonstration. I was carrying the American flag upside down, and I had a swastika on my arm. And I had to live with that. I was young, and I'm sorry. It was a major mistake. And he said, I knew I would never be well until I could come before this congregation and tell you how brave you were, how important it was, and how sorry I am that I didn't see the light of what Dr. King was offering. But now I do, and I want you to know that it changed my life. It was the whole congregation was, as you might imagine, absolutely stilled by it, because for him to take the time to come back that many years later and to carry with